Hi, Jen here from Jen Michelle Coaching, and today I want to talk about how to have a breakup and move on with dignity. This is a question many of you have reached out to me on, and I wanted to do a video to talk about ways that you can do this, because I know that for those of you that have had challenges in this area before, what a visceral, grief-stricken, just emotional situation it can be in terms of dealing with attachment issues and strong emotions that come up around a breakup, and really losing the insight to see the forest through the trees, so you're making decisions that connect you to the high value woman that you are deep down. For those of you that are new to my channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe. I release a video Sundays of each week. So number one, practice connecting to your worth. It is so easy in a breakup to get our sense of value from being in a relationship or being linked to a certain person, or to just have a grief and a sadness around our loss. But as women, our instinct is to internalize it and make it our fault. We tend to make these situations all our fault, and we tend to take total responsibility and put him on a pedestal while lowering ourselves, talking about all the ways that we did it wrong, the ways we came up short, the way our behavior could have been different. And we lose the bigger picture that it's never a one-sided situation, that there's ways he could have met you halfway too, and there's areas he could have looked deeper and grown and stretched himself. And so if you notice you fall under the tendency to make it all your fault and to internalize the negative emotions that come with that, I really invite you to deepen and expand your lens in a very factual way, meeting it with questions and inquiry, like, is that really 100% true that this is my fault if I would have done X, Y, or Z differently? Or if I look at this objectively, are there some things that could have been different on his end? Is the way I'm speaking to myself the advice I would give my best friend or someone I cared about? If the answer is a hard no, really self-adjusting, because that will show you where you are over-projecting and going into just beating up on your subconscious and going into survival mode. So really recognize this tendency and start to own it, so you can just stop that track of negativity. Ground yourself in taking a deep breath, turning towards something that is soothing and healthy for you, and recognize that in the beginning stages of a breakup, sometimes it's a breath by breath situation. And as you cultivate a new way and you face those emotions, this is going to build over time. So what once was just a breath turns into you becoming a more confident, loving, accepting, and surrendered version of yourself. Number two, we touched on this a little bit in step one, but please recognize your ego's involvement, because your ego, if it's agitated, it wants to go into rumination. It wants to go into all the mistakes that were made, what he's thinking now, who he's telling, catastrophizing. It can go into all kinds of interesting projections. And so if you notice that your ego is on overdrive, simply recognizing it is powerful, because you cannot change a thing if you are just reacting to the ego and creating hypotheticals that you in turn start taking action on, because of course then you're just creating a bigger mess that is not rooted in fact and objective information. So you want to notice your ego's involvement and let your ego know, have a conversation with it. We do not need to be obsessing over these details. We are making a lot of this up. We don't actually know any of this to be true. Call it out. Call it out continuously if needed. And just practice being in body and dropping the narrative, and just focus on the sensations that are coming up for you, not allowing those emotions to fuel an overactive, over negative narrative that in turn causes you to go further and further down that rabbit hole. Number three, reconnect to you, for you, return to your center. This means that you are doing things that enhance your confidence, and your self-love and your growing in your own self-worth. Perhaps a position you were in before this relationship, or perhaps something that is even more long overdue. But so often in relationship, especially if we have a tendency to go into the rescuer role of trying to be the fixer and the doer and the solver, we lose that deeper connection with who we are. And it's important to reconnect to the woman that this man fell in love with in the first place, or the woman that you've loved the most in different areas of your life, or to find her in general if this isn't something that is recognizable, in the past for reference in your life. So really trying to reconnect to your center by doing things that make you feel free, make you feel beautiful, not necessarily enhancing a bunch of physical attributes, but doing things that cultivate that feeling. Is it, getting outdoors every day? Is it doing free flow movement? Is it dance? Is it yoga? Is it laughing with old friends? Is it listening to certain music? But making sure you're doing things that expand your world and reconnect you with you, for you, not because you're trying to impress anyone, not because you're trying to show anyone, but because you are giving yourself full permission to exist and be, because you know you're that worthy of it. And there's no other agenda or reason for that except that you know deep down you deserve it. So I hope that these 3 tips are helpful if you are dealing with a breakup and all of the challenging emotions that come with it. Please visit my site at jenmichellecoaching.com. I do have various offerings in this area, my XBAC program being my main one. And this is a program that really helps women deepen their connection with themselves and to be that high value woman and to meet themselves right where they are so they can start growing in self-love and changing what is possible for them by expanding the menu. Please visit jenmichellecoaching.com. You can check that program out as well as others. Have a beautiful day. Bye.